and boom goes the dynamite.
It is time for the Daily Dive, the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show. Welcome, I am Michael Karvelis. On today's show, we'll be talking about the Week 18 storylines, specifically the Toronto Rock and the San Diego Seals. And wouldn't you know, they were both at home. Interesting. Also in segment 2, we'll talk about NLL attendances for Week 18. We'll unveil the exact numbers to you. And also our last brew will be our 3 stars of the weekend. Who showed up in shootouts in the NLL as we begin the final stretch and the March to May, if you will. Our top story is presented by Daily Dive Store. Go there and check out the awesome merchandise. It's the best way to support the show as we try to help grow the game. Check out our social media bios, especially on Twitter and YouTube at Daily Dive Lax. Click the link tree, and there you will see the awesome stuff. So let's get right into it. It's Week 18 in the NLL, and of course, we have to get into our top results. And the Toronto Rock were, of course, the one that stands out. The Toronto Rock came into the game looking like, it looked like, I felt like the Bandits were going to win the game. I was 6-2 straight up this week, and to me, it felt like the Buffalo Bandits were the better team going in. I felt like there wasn't enough offense for Toronto. I was completely wrong in that aspect. Apparently, there was a lot of offense for Toronto. Nick Rose locked it down, and, well, Matt Vince did not lock it down, for lack of a better term. In fact, let's get to those that box score for you, because this game, in my opinion, spoke volumes to the home field advantage. Corey Small had five goals and 5 assists for 10 points. We also saw Nick Rose with 39 saves. You got Matt Vince played 32 and a half minutes and then gave way to Devlin Shanahan, and that was pretty much it. The Rock just jumped all over them. The Rock led 7-0 before the Bandits scored a goal. It was too much. It was insane. We also saw some game misconducts, and that's not a good thing. We got Mackenzie Hofstrauser, who had a bunch of penalties, like roughing. The fourth quarter alone saw Hofstrauser get roughing, unsportsmanlike, fighting, game misconduct. Just a bad quarter for him, of course, Billy Hofstrauser. That's a bad look. I know game misconduct can sometimes mean more, like suspensions and stuff. So that was pretty interesting. As for the Eastern Conference, it looks pretty crazy right now for the Toronto Rock. The Toronto Rock are currently in the lead. Okay? So this was a huge win for not just bragging rights and running it up on your opponent. This was huge for the Eastern Conference because now the Rock are 12-4. The Bandits are 11-4. And Rock, to be fair, looked like the better team. And it goes to my points as I'll get to this. I'll kind of tie it up with the next game here because then we get to the San Diego Seals game, okay? The San Diego Seals came into this game against the Roughnecks, and I told you guys last week I picked the Seals to win because I felt like it was going to be I feel like Calgary was going to have a hard time traveling to San Diego. And the reason I said that was because remember when San Diego used private flights, like private jets to get to Saskatchewan and then blew the doors off of them? It's kind of interesting how, because I don't think Calgary flew privates. Based on the final score in the game for Calgary, and the final score in that game was Calgary losing 8-14. It's just very interesting that Calgary lost by 6 goals on the road, okay? In this game, we saw Dane Dobie get 3 goals. Westberg had 8 points, which was huge for him. Westberg, of course, getting 2 goals and 6 assists to get those 8 points. Frank Scigliano, once again, locking it down. Christian Del Bianco, 35 saves. He actually had 3 more saves than Scigliano. But really, San Diego jumped out to an early lead. So it's interesting we have these big time matchups, and both home teams got out to early leads. It just can't happen. And I keep saying, let them all fly privates or ban the teams from flying like regular. Or ban the teams from don't let them fly private at all. I know the league doesn't have enough money, obviously, to do that, or every team would fly private right now. So I think that I'm not going to say it was the main contributor, just like with the Rush game. I'm not going to get on the Daily Dive and tell you guys that somehow Saskatchewan lost because of that. I'm not telling you guys that Calgary and Buffalo got the doors blown off them this weekend because they didn't fly private. That's just not fair or accurate to the other team. But it's definitely part of the context. And as you guys know from other shows that I've done, and I'll tell you right now, if you haven't, I'm a big context guy when it comes to sports. And that matters a little bit, maybe like 15%, 10%. Good. It's enough to talk about for sure. Part of a story. By the way, the Western Conference right now, the San Diego Seals, of course, only looking pretty good for locking up that number one spot. Seals are 11-3, Roughnecks 10-5. The fact the Roughnecks have 2 more losses is not good. Panther City got a big win against Albany, especially when Albany was up like 3 or 4-0 to start that game. The Rush got a monster win. And I want to talk about that in the next segment because the Rush are right there. They're hanging on by a thread. The Colorado Mammoth, of course, they did beat the Desert Dogs, and I thought that was a feisty team Mammoth had to beat in order to stay alive in this whole thing. But we're going to talk about more of that next. It's Daily Dive right here. We're not done yet, so don't go anywhere. But we come back, we're talking a burning take reaction, a great take I thought I heard from Mitch Belisle via the NLL Coast to Coast show. And also, we're going to talk about more of the games and some NLL attendances for Week 18. You don't want to miss it. It's Daily Dive. We'll be right back. Daily Dive presented by Fanatics. Check out Daily Dive Lax and shop Fanatics. When you click our link tree, you will be taken to Fanatics. When you go there, well, obviously when you click the Fanatics logo, and when you get there, shop the NLL merchandise. There's a lot of great stuff on there. Support your team and the show. It's great stuff, trust me. Fanatics is all you need to know there. Okay, so burning takes right here. Mitch Belisle said this on Coast to Coast, that the lefty and righty shooting will be no more in the near future. And I have to say, as a person who really likes that, I agree, and I hope it happens. I am a second-year NLL, like hardcore NLL fan. This is my first year, like really like covering it, like going crazy about it. But I've noticed the lefty and righty thing is kind of weird, because it almost like limits players to what they can do. When you have more Jeff Teats coming in, you have more Will Malcolms, it's going to be a lot more, there's going to be a lot more offense. And I feel like it'll also be a lot higher scoring games, maybe for a few years. But I think the aspect of we need a left-hander, like, come on, like there's not many lefties out there in the world. Like I'm a right-handed person. The majority of right-handed people in the world, it's a lot more than left-handed people. I'm not saying, I think it's sort of like lacrosse. Like lacrosse in general is obviously a niche sport right now. Like there's not a lot of lefties out there, I'm sure. So I think it's an interesting take. I actually love the take. I hope it happens, because again, it'll open up the game so much more. And so I thought that had to be, I wanted to mention that. I thought Mitch Belisle made a great point. And I know we've tried to have him on the show before. I don't remember us having him on the show. I just want to say that. But yeah, Mitch Belisle, awesome take there on Coast to Coast. Ready for Week 18 attendances? Well, let's find out. Toronto with 13,000 people to watch them tear apart the Bandits. The Wings at 9,935. The Mammoth just behind them. It's 9,800 almost. 9,200 for the Georgia Swarm as they won again. Halifax 7,600. Saskatchewan 7,700. San Diego 3,100. And Panther City bringing up the rear as always with 2,300 people. Okay. So Halifax is the interesting one here because they got their stuff rocked as well. And I want to get back to the Eastern Conference standings because I told you guys, and I want to look at how this worked out, okay? I told you guys on Friday, I picked the Georgia Swarm to win both their games, okay? So the Georgia Swarm, in the process of winning both of their games, they are now 6-8. They have won 6 in a row. What a turnaround for that franchise. The Wings, of course, 7-8. The Thunderbirds are 7-8 as well. But Thunderbirds are the team that, like, they were not supposed to be in this position. Because of the Halifax Thunderbirds right now, like, to me, to start the season, Halifax looked like they were going to make the playoffs. And now it looks like maybe not. Because this right here is not good. I think Philadelphia's better. I think Georgia's playing better. I'm not sure Georgia's better than Halifax. But I think Georgia is good enough to sneak in around Halifax, okay? So Rochester, of course, they got a loss against Philadelphia, so that was another big thing. And in that game, by the way, Joe Resetaritz, what a performance for him. Not only does he have a 4-goal performance, but his 4th goal is the overtime winner in front of course, the 9,935 strong. Shout out Renee Washington over there. I don't know if she went to the game. I'm guessing she did not. But wonderful host Renee Washington. I know she went to one Wings game this year. That was cool to see her have their little pass or little badge pass. And that was cool. I'm trying to make it to a Georgia Swarm game this weekend, side point. But yeah. No, but Philadelphia to me is the best of those three. Halifax, Philadelphia, and Georgia. And then, of course, Riptide, LOL, okay. And then, I mean, Albany, good God, they're 2-12. That is just gross. Albany has not won since, I believe, January 27th. I was watching the Panther City broadcast, and that was a bad stat to see, man. I feel sorry for Albany. I mean, we've had 2 guys on the show. One guy, Jake Fox, I had on my previous show. Then we had, of course, the guy they also got from the Rush. I forget his name right now, but anyways, it's not a good look for Albany. But yeah, the East is shaking up right now. I think Philadelphia gets in the 4th spot. Halifax is too good, but oh well. Also, I want to get to this game because this game was insane. The Saskatchewan Rush held on for dear life. When I tell you watching this game live was insane. Saskatchewan Rush were leading in this game 11-6 as the 4th quarter got underway. Like Walter scored on a Robert Church and Austin Madronic assist. Then came Kyle Killen. Then came Kyle Killen again. And then came Kyle Killen. I mean, Kyle Killen was said, darn your playoff hopes. But then in overtime, Robert Church, old Bobby Church. That was tough. I know we've always heard from the Rush and the Warriors people. Like, we've heard it from our guy, what is his name? We have so many guests on the show. The Warriors broadcaster. I feel bad. He's going to kill me for this too. But Cody Jansen of the Rush, and of course the Jake Elliott's of the Vancouver Warriors have both told us that Vancouver and Saskatchewan that's a tough matchup. I don't know why. I don't know why it's a tough matchup, but it is a tough matchup. But when I tell you, I like probably a lot of Rush faithful were probably thinking to myself, like, this game, like the Warriors they're gonna win. I mean, I was like, really? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. They're really going to come back from down 11-5 or from 10-6 and win the game. And thank God Robert Church happened. But man, it was not pretty. It wasn't pretty. 7,711 people. Remember, the Rush were in shambles. I've learned from a few Rush fans and others, the Rush were not happy this week or last week. It was the first time in franchise history they had lost 5 games in a row. Apparently they're pretty prideful and they took that personally. There was some physical play from the Rush, and we've heard that the Rush, it's been perceived within that they've been playing soft. It's not a good look for them. But I was glad they were able to pull this out, because if they did not, it was going to be gross. Now, for my money line sake, one of the games I got wrong, I said the Warriors were going to win. I said the +1.5, but I also said go ahead and sprinkle some of the money line. I probably shouldn't have said that. But +1.5 did hit in that bet that I did tell you guys. But wow, that was tough. It's good to see Toronto, Philadelphia get fans in there. Colorado, I mean, they needed that win against Las Vegas, and it worked out to perfection. Dylan Ward did what he had to. But was what Dylan Ward did enough? Was what Robert Church did enough to be one of our 3 stars of the weekend? Because I'm telling you right now, I don't know about that. We'll let you know next, though. Our 3 stars of the weekend, presented by B-Res Coffee Company. We'll be right back to give that to you. It's Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. Last brew presented by B-Res Coffee Company. Use the code DailyDive when you check out with buying those awesome, great flavors at B-Res Coffee Company. That's B-R-E-Z, code DailyDive. Week 18 attendance is, of course, scrolling across the bottom of your screen, exclusive here to Daily Dive. We're the ones with all the numbers for you. It's time for our 3 stars. Are you ready for it? I know I am. First star of the weekend. Who's it going to go to? We're going to go with one that's fresh on people's minds. Joe Resiteritz of the Philadelphia Wings, as part of a 4-goal performance in front of 9,935 people. The Wings got another big win, and the Wings beat the Nighthawks in overtime. Our second star is going to go to Brett Dobson of the Georgia Swarm. On Sunday, the Swarm came in with 5 wins in a row, but still 8 losses to start the season. After beating the Riptide in game number 1 in Georgia, they fly all the way up to Halifax. And you know Halifax, pretty good on offense, and Brett Dobson said, no sir, no can do, no bobbery. Brett Dobson made 44 saves, shutting down the Halifax Thunderbirds on the road, as the Swarm have swarmed back and won 6 games in a row. That is unreal what they have done with that team. And now for our third star, this was a toughie. It was between Mark Matthews of the Rush. It's going to go to Nick Rose. Rosie! Nick Rose wins our third star of the week because Nick Rose shut down Josh Byrne and Dane Smith. Okay? It's not a good thing when you have those 2 guys, you can only muster up 7 goals. That's amazing. How are the transactions for this week, by the way? Friday, when we left the show, good God, so many things happened. Thomas Hogarth of the Nighthawks got placed on the injured reserve list. Calgary Roughnecks placed Tyler Pace on the short-term holdout list. Jeff Cornwall on the injured reserve list. The Desert Dogs had Jacob Rouet on the short-term holdout list. Good. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. And of course, on Saturday before the games began, the Buffalo Bandits placed Chase Frazier on the injured reserve list. And the Wings have signed Brock Sorensen to a 1-year agreement. Good. A lot of stuff. Listen, Friday, a lot of things happened when we left the show. A lot of big names could not show up. So just to let you guys know, a little bit more context, if you will. Well, that's it for today's Daily Dive. I've had a fun time. Do not forget, we've got some great guests on this week, including Wednesday. Rush's own Cody Jansen will be back to tell us just how gosh darn important that Rush win was in overtime against the Vancouver Warriors. And we'll also have more great guests as well. I've got a few that I'm working on. You'll want to tune in. It's Daily Dive, the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below or on Twitter at Daily Dive Lax. I'll try great highlights on Instagram at Daily Dive Lax as well. And please, for the love of the Lord of lacrosse, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's one of the best things to do to support the show. Buy merchandise. Subscribe to Daily Dive on YouTube. I'm done pandering to the people and asking them to do stuff, okay? It's been fun. It's been real. We'll be back at tomorrow. I told you guys we're doing it all 5 days this week. There's been apparently some talk in the lacrosse community that I'm not committed, okay? So we're going to try to bump that, and we'll be back bright and early on the West Coast and here eating lunch on the East Coast. Noon Eastern, Monday through Friday, all week long. Daily Dive. Have a good one.